So the fight continues in Bleach, and with everything that happened last week, even more fights happened this week. Although it was kind of a jumbled mess because they kept jumping from one person to another, that is essentially like, stick to someone so we could have some conclusion to at least one of these fights, but I'm sure that will come later. Right now, we have a new Stern Ritter that basically showed off a little bit last week. Stern Ritter I, the Iron, was the one that stole the Bankai from Hitsugaya and essentially attacked Masumoto, where she was looking almost dead, you know, as he tossed her body to the ground. Everything seemed to be lost until, like we talked about last week, Urahara came up with an idea to get everyone their Bankai back. So, long story short, the way he figured out how to have everyone get their Bankai back is he essentially gave everyone these black pills to either touch or come in contact with in some way. And if they do that, it, for a very small amount, will holofy their powers and their Bankai, which holification, or the actual hollows themselves, are like a poison to the Quincy's. By doing that, it basically will harm the Quincy's and weaken them. Thus, they can turn the tables and, of course, get their Bankais back. After Hitsugaya touched the pill, Stern Ritter I basically felt the poison effects as the powers was coming back to him, and he was able to utilize his Bankai once again. And let's just say, he was able to give him a nice, proper ice burial, and thus didn't have to worry about him anymore. Now, as Soi Fon has her Bankai back, the robot that she was fighting, he was disabled because of the poison that was running through him. And she's like, how about you get hit by this Bankai and try to analyze this? As she fires the missile straight at this dude and blew the daylights out of him. He was not expecting that. So thus ended that fight as well. So a lot of our captains finished their fights, although they are pretty injured and thus need some serious healing before they can get back into the fight. Now, new fights did start back up, i.e. this guy. He didn't give his introduction yet, so this luchador-like wrestling Quincy started to have a fight with more of the Soul Reapers, which is very interesting because he has this little creature that comes over here that he basically calls James to come ring a bell, and by him ringing the bell, it like empowers him to become even stronger. Really, that was about it. There was a little bit more engagements with him, but there really wasn't much to kind of notate, if you will. But I will say that we'll probably get more into this guy in the future. Now, the biggest bombshell, which I'm sure a lot of people don't even realize that it's a bombshell, but you guys have me. So this is the biggest bombshell right here. Shinji's Bankai. This Bankai was not even released in the actual manga. We did not know Shinji's Bankai and how its effects worked. Now, for those that are in the know, Shinji's the one that, as a Shikai, he can manipulate your senses in a way that up is down, left is right, and basically when you're facing one way, you're actually facing the opposite way, and totally kind of confuses you and disorients you. Well, his Bankai is even worse. His Bankai makes it to where enemies and allies, if they're around, cannot tell the difference between friend and foe. So they end up attacking their own people, or they end up attacking just random people. So in this case, he released his Bankai, which looks pretty cool because it was almost like a flower, if you will. For those that know Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom, that know the great fairies and how they have their flowers and the smoke that comes out of them. It's kind of like that. The Quincy's just ended up attacking each other while he is perfectly within his senses and is able to manipulate them and kill them off if they didn't already kill each other. He did show back up more where he actually was messing with one of the Quincy's. He's like, yeah, I've been dabbling in making words go backwards too. And it was quite funny because the actual subtitles were backwards. So you had to kind of read the words backwards. I thought that was kind of hilarious. Now that the Quincy's do not have the reliability to use the Bankais of the Soul Reapers, they now have their own Quincy version of Bankai that they can do. And thus, this is what they're doing. Looks like crosses that just appear everywhere. Now, that also means all those Quincy's that we thought were dead before, the one that's frozen by Hitsugaya, the one that got exploded by Soi Fon, they're not dead. They basically activated their Bankai and they're back in action. So that is unfortunate because we just had this awesome time of like, yes, let's go. You killed them. Nope, you didn't kill them. So now round 2 starts on a lot of these fights. Now the enemy Quincy's are able to release 100% of their power. So yet again, next week's episode is going to be even better than this week's episode because here it is. Like, all right, everything's going good. We're losing the fight. Oh, we're winning the fight back. Oh, the Quincy's are going their version of Bankai. So now we're going to get to the nitty gritty and see if they actually can kill them off or get killed themselves. So yes, I'm looking forward to now another week as more and more battles come out and more fights come out. And if you were any sort of type of fan of Bleach in the past, this is where things get really intense. And these are the real battles because this is where it gets bloody and there's no holds barred. So we'll take a look and see how it goes next week. But for this week, this is basically it, as none of the fights really finished or none of the fights really got established as far as like who's fighting who, whether it's one-on-one or the such. But we'll know more next week. Until then, you guys take care of yourselves. Please be safe. Make sure you like the video and make sure you guys are at least subscribed for more analysis on this anime and several others in the future and on the channel. Have a good one. Take care and bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.